Hey everyone, the day is finally here. My Crimson Scales has arrived, and with the add-ons, with the add-on characters, and with the miniatures. So really happy to do that, and I'm going to do an unboxing in this video for you guys. Just before we get into that though, just want to say, if you didn't know what the Crimson Scales is, or maybe you haven't been watching my class videos or been over on Twitch on Wednesdays when I've been doing the Crimson Scales stuff, essentially the Crimson Scales is a fan-made expansion to Gloomhaven, uses some components from the original Gloomhaven game, but it brings a load of new characters, all fan-made. It's not official canon stuff, but really high production quality, and it ended up being a physical printed version, which is what we're unboxing today. So really cool. If you would like to check the project out, go over to thecrimsonscales.com, where you can't actually buy this printed version or pre-order it currently, but there is print and play files, and there is a tabletop simulator mod for those of you who like to play on the computer or Mac. So there is some options available for you there. But enough of this. Let's finally get into looking at the Crimson Scales physical version. So here we have the Crimson Scales printed version finally in my hands. So I went for everything with the add-ons. I also got the minis. This was optional. Not a lot of people went for these because it was quite expensive to add the miniatures, but the 3D printed files were available for people who maybe wanted to just print their own minis, which probably would have ended up being cheaper really, but I decided to splurge here. I wanted to get the full Crimson Scales experience in terms of what was available to buy. As you can see here, Crimson Scales is a kind of longer box, if you like, more of a coffin style box, whereas Gloomhaven is that kind of, it's still a rectangle, but it's much deeper. But in terms of weight, it is fairly comparable, I would say, to Gloomhaven. You know, this is not a light box, and certainly the printing quality on it is also very nice. So you can pretty much see here, hopefully on like the close-up camera here, you can see that it is very kind of attractive. It does look really nice. It really pops with all the different characters on the front of the box. It looks really good. And on the back you've got all of the different kind of components, and like a normal board game box, to be honest. And show it on the kind of main camera as well. So you can see it really is a very nice looking box. You know, I can't say any bad words about it. And the box feels in really nice sort of condition. It's like a laminated sort of finish. So yeah, this would not look out of place on a board game store shelf, that's for sure. So yeah, very good attention to detail here. I mean, you would not think that this was a fan-made product at all going from this. You can see there the kind of overlap that you've got between the two, so you can see the kind of different size between the two sets there. But yeah, very impressed with the box and the way it looks, and it's certainly going to look really nice on my shelf, that's for sure. So let's look at Crimson Scales on its own here. So open in the box. Got a few kind of components right here. So first off, we got a rules sheet here. So basically just got like how to, not a rule sheet, really like a setup sheet, if you like. Well, it just kind of shows you what you need to do in order to set the game up, really. As you know, you use some components from base Gloomhaven. Yeah, this is a fan-made expansion. It does require components from base Gloomhaven in order to operate, and it gives you kind of the details of how to separate everything and what to really do here when doing it. So that's nice to see, so that nobody makes any mistakes, and it's very easy for you as a first-time player to work out how to set this up. Next, looks like we got the rule book and scenario guide. So this looks really nice, actually. Very high quality indeed. You can see here contents, introduction, all in the same kind of style, which is impressive. You know, the same sort of style and layout that the original Gloomhaven rulebook is as well. And the kind of rules information that you've got here, how your campaign works, which is different in Crimson Scales. So there are some significant changes. As you can see, really nice looking thing. Hopefully you can see that okay on the camera. Trying desperately to get this all on the camera okay, but hopefully you can see that all okay there. But yeah, really nice. Really a very well presented bit of information. So a side-by-side comparison here a little bit to the original Gloomhaven kind of scenario book. Mine's a little bit battered now. You can see I've got pages that are actually starting to come off the rings at the back. The ring binder on this, you know, feels a little bit more substantial, but you know, in terms of the pages and stuff, I would say that this one feels a little bit glossier. You know, the front cover maybe a little bit. You know, the Crimson Scales one doesn't feel quite as nice. It's a bit more papery, I would say, on the pages compared to the official, you know, scenario guide. But I mean, it's such a marginal thing, you know. It's such a small thing compared to this. I mean, this feels, it's absolutely fine. You know, there's no issue with it at all, and it feels very good quality, really high quality printing. There's no color issues that I can see at first glance. Everything just seems really nice and pops off the page. So another kind of win for me. And compared to the original Gloomhaven book, I mean, it's pretty much the same. You know, it's really, there's not much in it really at all. And if anything, you know, using the new kind of design sensibilities maybe of Frosthaven as well, in the way that things are like laid out, you can see that it is maybe a little bit more friendly, a little bit maybe harder to read in certain situations, but I feel like it's a little bit more kind of player friendly, if you like, in the way that it displays the information, and which is a lot more kind of similar to the Frosthaven layouts and stuff like that. So there's definitely some learnings here that they've obviously come up with compared to, you know, what we kind of had in Gloomhaven, which, you know, there's a lot of text here, and this just feels like it's laid out really, really nicely. So yeah, excellent. Really pleased with this. Really great looking scenario book. Next up, we have the add-on book, I think it is. So this is the, this is for the add-on pack. So this included a few other characters. So you've got the Beetle, Tools, and Bloody Core characters. I'll try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible. But essentially, it's more of the same. We don't need to talk too much about that. But essentially, it's more of the same, laid out in much the similar way as the first scenario guide. Next, we've got another book here, which looks like the supplementary. So yeah, this is the supplementary book, which is something that has come in. You'll recognize it if you play Jaws of the Lion, where you kind of added extra room tiles and things in that thing. But realistically, its new purpose really is to keep things a bit secret. So now, to stop players from being able to maybe see what's in every single room when a scenario starts, you're going to get a supplementary book, and that's going to happen in Frosthaven as well. And that will just be able basically to give it an element of surprise, that you don't ruin all the nice things and when things happen in the game, just to make it a little bit more dynamic and fun. So next up, we've got a bunch of punch boards. So lots of punch boards with the new effects and things like that you might not actually have in your base game, including looks like regenerate, which is something that you may not have if you did not play with the Forgotten Circles expansion. So in terms of the quality of these, just give it a quick punch. You can see it there. I mean, it's what you would expect, really. It is a, let's see if the camera will focus there for a minute. Yeah, there you go. So it's a really just nice board game component, you know. There's nothing to write home here. It's a cardboard chip. It does exactly what you would hope there. Let's try one of these standees. So there's like one of the little monster standees, if that's going to focus okay. There you go. So again, just nice quality. You know, it's what you would expect from any kind of regular board game, really. You know, it's not thin, it's pretty thick. It's exactly what you'd expect from kind of punch board quality components, really. And the artwork as well on these is really, really nice as well. So very happy with that. You've got the different condition tokens. There's going to be a lot of additional tokens in this, and I did sort of skim through the read first pamphlet. There's a lot of conditions here for different characters that will need to be kind of added on. This is for the add-on, actually. This punch board's for the add-on, so that's for the expansion characters. But a few other things here, boss monsters and stuff like that. Some nice, really nice looking extra monsters and things to check out there. You can see it over on that camera as well. So really, really cool. See, that punched out really nicely and easily there. So you got the little crocodile there. Look how cool that is. I mean, the artwork on these things is just so nice, you know. Really feels like Gloomhaven, you know. I mean, them using Alexander obviously to do all of the artwork was a massive part of making this feel like a part of the universe, and he's done a phenomenal job. And it's good to see that they didn't sort of, you know, skimp out on the components or anything to just make it, you know, they've really tried to make it like a proper board game. And this is, you know, I mean, this is you know, insane, really, what they've achieved here. It is basically another board game. So Here's the last kind of punch sheet there. A couple of more tokens. So many tokens. Not quite sure what these are for, but they're really cool. Looks like a trap token, but it's got like a trap on one side, but it's got, you see that there on the camera? It's got a trap on one side, there's a little rope, so that's kind of cool. Flip it over maybe if someone triggers it, that's kind of cool. New standees, by looks of things, including some red ones there, which is kind of interesting. So here are my original ones, keep them in a little box. They are definitely different. These are more of a kind of a clip, if you like. I think I probably prefer the original Gloomhaven ones, but I mean, if you've got these already, do you really need extra ones? I mean, it does feel like maybe this is not something that was really kind of a necessary component to add. I don't know, but well, there's no red ones in my original Gloomhaven one, so there must be something special. So yeah, we'll see about that. But I don't know whether or not you even really need this, and a lot of people actually just create their own standees because they like the condition tokens to fit on there. Okay, so onwards to the next section. Woo. Big reveal. Okay, so we got some stickers. These look like enhancement stickers. Yeah, they are enhancement stickers. So we got some new enhancement stickers. Look in there. Mostly they include regenerate there on the bottom. That's pretty new. So that's one of the new conditions. So when I say new conditions, it's not new for this game, but it is new if you don't have the expansion. So you would need that to be on there. So yeah, it's just nice. Some more enhancement stickers if you don't have any left from the original game. We got, looks like tuck boxes. So you are going to have to, looks like we're going to have to assemble our own little boxes for these guys. Of course, because the minis didn't come inside the box, they came as like a separate add-on. This makes sense that why there isn't actually, these aren't assembled really, because some players might not even actually use these. They might just throw these out and not even use them, or never even assemble them. So kind of makes sense that these would come like this, I guess. Yep, and you got some extra ones there as well. So 2 different sizes of those guys. Next we got the party sheet. So here is the party sheet for Crimson Scales, which I'll put up on camera now. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Looks a little bit different to the kind of original party sheet. A few more things in there. You got goals on the side there. You've got, not quite sure what this thing is on the bottom, but there's something else going on down here as well. Some other campaign mechanic. You got prosperity level, of course. You got your reputation, and you got your shot modifier stuff on the side there as well. So looks very similar, but does have some distinct differences there to what you might have seen in the original Gloomhaven party sheet. Tuck boxes then, let's have a look. So we got a lot here. So we got Sprig. So it doesn't, there's stuff in there. There's stuff in there, but obviously the mini and stuff is not in there, and none of the other sort of, some of the other kind of token components that need to be punched are not going to be in here either. But let's have a look and let's check it out. So in terms of the way that it feels, I mean, it feels just like a normal Gloomhaven class box. You've even got so you got the symbol on there. You've also got the symbol on the top of the top. So if you do like to store them kind of vertically, like the original Gloomhavens were stored in the box like that, then you got that too. Obviously a really nice one on the front there as well. So here we go. Here is the Maya foot. So this is one that I have done a video on. I don't know if I've put it up on my YouTube channel yet, but I'm running behind on these, but it will be up at some point when we did a little kind of review. But this is the Maya foot character. In terms of the mat itself, it does feel a bit different. And my initial impression is that it does feel different to the original ones. I don't know if you can see the thickness there, but it does feel good. It doesn't feel bad. It just feels a little bit glossier than I remember the Gloomhaven ones being. I'm going to grab a Gloomhaven one so we can have a little example. Here they both are sort of side by side, if you like, on the close-up camera. I'll try and pinch these so you can kind of see them. They're very similar, but if you have a look, there is definitely more of a sheen, a glossy finish. There you go. You can get the kind of reflection there, but you can see how the gloss finish much more prominent on the Crimson Scales version. They also are a bit thinner, I would say. If you look at side by side, the kind of cardboard is not quite as thick as the original one. It's quite a hard thing to show there, but hopefully you can kind of get an idea of how it looks. But in terms of presentation, I mean, it looks just as good to me. There's no kind of immediate thing that drops up. In fact, You could argue that the color, because of the glossy finish, actually pops a little bit nicer on the Maya Foot one. I don't know, compared to the Mind Thief. I mean, Mind Thief's maybe a bit more of a duller matte, but certainly with these sort of bits here seem to pop a little bit more with the glossy finish. So the colors just seem to be a little bit more vivid on the Maya Foot one. But then you do have that glossy finish, which some people may prefer, may not. But there's no noticeable thing here. And I say it does feel, in hand, it feels a little bit lighter. It's not really that much different. Like, I don't... It's very difficult to kind of see. You can just see that gloss kind of hit the camera light a little bit more in my lighting, you know? So, but it's very close. And say the colors do seem a little bit more vivid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know which one I prefer. I mean, the Mind Thief one does feel more weighty, definitely. I mean, it definitely feels more weighty, but this doesn't feel, you know, it doesn't feel cheap. It's just different. So they obviously haven't quite managed to do it exactly the same, but, you know, you'd be surprised if they had managed to do something like this exactly the same. So, yeah, no, I mean, overall, I'm very happy with it. I think it looks, you know, it does the purpose. It feels robust enough to withstand, you know, being taken in and out of boxes and being used a fair bit. I mean, really, how often are these components used apart from just sitting in front of you, you know? So they're not something that's going to be constantly in your hand. It's not like a card that you're shuffling. The cards are something that I'm going to be a bit more, maybe a little bit more kind of crucial on. So we'll see how those cards go. But yeah, overall, not too bad. And you can see the comparison there between the two. Okay, so looking at what else is in the Maya Foot's box, you've got the perk sheet. So the standard perk sheet. The perks have been changed a little bit. If you look at some of my videos on Crimson Scales, you'll notice that the perk system has been changed a little bit. You do get some kind of more interesting perks than perhaps regular Gloomhaven had. A little bit more in line with Frosthaven. Some of the characters are a little bit more vanilla. Some of them are a little bit more detailed. So depends on the character really. But you will notice there'll be some interesting perks on these characters. You've also got standee. There you go. So for those who didn't actually buy the minis or didn't feel like printing the minis, you do actually get a standee of the character, which is really, really nice. So if you didn't go down that option, you have got a standee to use. I mean, some people actually prefer playing with standees than they do miniatures. So I can see a lot of people look at that because they like the art. You know, sometimes it's nice to actually use the actual art from the game a little bit more. There's nothing else actually in the box, which must mean that these cards are part of these stacks over here. So let's have a look. In terms of all of the other ones, you've got all of the other classes in here, including the classes that, you know, the add-on classes. So this is an add-on class. Okay, so let's have a look at these stacks of cards, because that's going to be fairly important. Okay, so, whoop, nearly dropped them. Okay, so we've got a city. Looks like we've got some city events, along with some personal quests. So that might be, this looks like it might be something to do with the add-on, maybe, because I believe that character is an add-on character, so this might be the one for the add-ons. You've got what looks like a prepared deck. You know, it's in the same kind of style that you would in Gloomhaven, with obviously the Halt symbols on there. Shows you what kind of classes. This again looks like it's something to do with the add-ons, because it's got the 3 add-on classes there. So we'll see that. We'll keep that for now. What else have we got in here? So we've got more road events. So road events, a stack of those with what they do. Standard. We'll open a couple of these in a minute. We'll just see what cards we've got. More city events. And also we have monster cards. So something a bit different than what we have had and what we've seen before is that we have monster cards. Let's open this one up actually and see what these cards kind of look like and feel like. I'm going to try and keep these in order because I don't want to mess this up too much, because I want to be actually playing this on stream soon. So I need to sort my camera set up a little bit, but that it's going to take a little bit of time for me to organize a good camera setup. But this one I kind of managed to just rig up today, just for very quickly, just to try and get something on and out to you guys quickly. So okay, so there is the there's the water spirit. There's different cards. They're double-sided. And then there's another card for the other levels. So there's up to 6 and 7 there. So 4, 5, and 6 and 7. So there's 2 cards for these guys. I think this is the only new monster in the game from what I know. I think, and everything else just uses existing monsters. So it could be that, I mean, this was just a much easier idea than punching a load of stuff just or printing a load of odd-sized cards. Those larger monster cards just for this monster was probably not very cost efficient because it was a whole different size of card. In terms of the feel of it, it does feel a little bit cheap to me. This is one thing that I always thought that this might end up being the case with Crimson Scales. The cards to me feel quite thin. They've obviously got this kind of like laminated sheen to them. You see that? It's very sheen. They remind me honestly of pretty cheap playing cards, but I mean, how often do you really touch this? This is literally just going to be as a marker for the monster. It doesn't matter if this is particularly cheap. It's literally just a component that sits there. Does it really matter? I don't think so. Plus, a lot of people like to sleeve, and this is just going to be a standard size sleeve. So, I mean, if you sleeve it, then you don't have any issue at all. So, yeah, I'm not going to really drag them over the coals on this one. But it is definitely a thinner cardstock. I can tell immediately that it's quite a thin cardstock, and that it is kind of like got that kind of like, well, I don't really like it, but it's like that kind of nasty laminated finish that you get sometimes on cards, rather than like a more of a silky kind of finish. But again, it's a fan-made project, you know. I'm not expecting them to produce something that's going to be super, super high quality here. You know, just the fact that it even exists is just amazing. So. Looks like most of the other cards are also, I don't want to go too much into this because of course they're all city events, but touching these, it looks like they're all made of the same cardstock. There's nothing different here, but plenty of city events here though. Loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. So plenty for you to get stuck into if you want. Okay, so these are ability cards for the different characters, so that's why it says halt, I guess, because potentially people might view these as spoilers. So if you didn't want to know what these 2 classes were, then don't open this pack, because essentially it contains all of the ability cards for these 2 characters. Maybe if I can find the Mirefoot one, we can use the Mirefoot as the benchmark for doing everything. So here we go, Mirefoot. So here's the one. This one contains Vortex. I can't remember what the symbol is for that one, but Crescent, is it Crescent Moon? I think it might be Crescent Moon. And then Sprig, which is Mirefoot. So let's open this up. Crimson Scales is one of those things where we're not entirely sure how spoiler free people are trying to be with the game, because it's a little bit different to Gloomhaven, but it's a nice touch that they've done this. I mean, technically all of these characters are starting characters apart from the add-on ones, so they're not really secret, but sometimes people like a nice surprise and just try and avoid spoilers and things. So first off, we get the kind of milestone checkoff sheet, if you like. If you're new to this, if you're new to the characters and you don't know much about them, the milestones are just an additional way for you to unlock something if you manage to achieve this. So just something for you to work on personally as you kind of play along to try and unlock something special for your character. That kind of thing. So this will get you to go to the website to actually get the kind of print and play file, I guess, at this point. But if you did go for the Trail of Ashes expansion, then there's a printed component for these. So you'll actually can get the printed component if you've got that, which I did. It's hasn't shipped yet. I mean, so we'll see when that turns up. But all right, so here are the cards. Very similar to the other cardstock, to be honest. I know it's a bit of a yellowy hue on this lens. It's because of the lens that I use. It's like a kind of a close-up lens. It's a bit more of a warmer look on this camera, but you can see it. I think they look really, really nice. I'll try and also show you over on this camera a little bit more. See if you can maybe see if it's going to focus at all. It may not focus because the focusing range is not as good for close-ups over there, but so you can see. In terms of, again, the paper stock, the card stock is the same stock as those other cards, so it's kind of thin, it's a bit laminated, does feel a little bit cheap. If I can compare it to kind of one of the the original cards. And, you know, let's be honest here, the original cards don't feel particularly great either. If we're really being brutally honest. I mean, I've never really noticed it before. Maybe because I've been playing digital for so long. But actually, when I put these two side by side, I mean, you know, this definitely feels smoother. But maybe that's also because this is a bit worn, you know. Maybe I've been playing with this card a little bit. It's sort of broken in a bit. In terms of everything else, though, well, I mean, to be honest, if you look at thickness, they're very similar at thickness. You might even say that, actually, I'd say that maybe the Crimson Scales ones are actually slightly thicker. Do you know what? Maybe I've been a bit harsh on these guys. The actual original stuff is not as bad. Again, it doesn't have that quite as much gloss to it, though. Like, again, sometimes it's a bit difficult to see the gloss level. I'm trying to kind of like, you know, give you guys like a little bit of a tweak it in the light. You might see it reflect a little bit, but it's kind of difficult to do. To sort of be able to show you guys, really. Maybe you can see it better on the other camera. Where I kind of. A little bit. But no, it's a minor thing. You know, they're both pretty glossy, I would say. I feel like it just feels much slicker to me. You know, much smoother compared to the original one. But again, maybe that's just because this is a bit of a worn card now. And I never sleeved my my Gloomhaven, mainly because I kind of figured that there's no shuffling in Gloomhaven of these cards. So I never really thought to think about really sleeving them, you know? And because the game is a campaign game and you play through it once and you might play each character once or maybe twice, depending on how into it you got, I never really felt like it was a huge problem to not have them sleeved. But yeah, I mean, actually, maybe I'm a bit harsh. I still think that the Gloomhaven, original Gloomhaven ones just feel, I don't know, they just feel a little bit nicer, but I mean, it's very marginal, actually. I think I was being harsh. To be honest, I think I was probably being harsh. This is perfectly serviceable. And actually, once sleeved, you might actually appreciate this one a little bit more because the colours pop a little bit nicer, I think. I mean, they're pretty similar, though. Nah, the colours are pretty similar. It could just be the green instead of the blue as well. Maybe makes it look a little bit different there. It's not quite an apples for apples. You've also obviously got the design on this one, where these guys have got like a kind of like a subtle background design, whereas obviously this is quite a flat background. So yeah, do you know what? I'm happy with this. Do you know what? I think this is absolutely fine. So yeah, no, that's well done. Well done by the guys there. I think that's nice. What else have we got in here? So again, just more characters there. Probably more characters again, I would think. Yeah, so all just more characters. On to the small cards. So we got items and we got monster cards. So I'm going to be a little bit careful with these because, of course, there's going to be potentially some spoilers here without me really knowing it, depending on how you view items and stuff like that. But I will try and open these again to kind of get a good feel of them, see how they kind of compare to original Gloomhaven. So you got Water Spirit. Say looking good. Using the original, again, still just using the original Gloomhaven formatting for these cards, not using any of the new style of formatting, which actually has like the name of the ability rather than the monster at the top, or as well as. I can't remember if it's as well as, or either or, but so it's a little bit different, but looks good. Don't want to get too, again, I don't really want to go into items too much because, you know, this is kind of spoiler territory, but it's going to be the same kind of cards again. I'm not going to really go into that too much. More items, quite a lot of items there actually. Game seems to add quite a lot of items. Oh, so curse deck. And looks like there's also something else in here that's sort of spoiler territory. I'm not quite sure what it is, but some more curses maybe, and then maybe some other like negative conditions to put into the enemy's deck, stuff like that. So just some extra stuff to do with that. Attack modifier decks here. It's got some weird runic symbols on them. I don't really know what they're for, but you see there in the bottom corner, like a runic symbol instead of... Usually, like, these would be the player numbers, right? So, obviously for something, but not too sure what at this point. You got some class-specific perks and stuff there as well. So, like, the modifiers that you can do by using your perks. So there's a Mirefoot 1 right there. Okay, well that's everything. It's in the box. I guess we should probably check underneath the insert though, just in case. You never know. A nod to the original Gloomhaven. We have anything in there? No, doesn't look like it. Oh well, I mean, I would have been surprised if there was, but you know, you got to check because of what happened with the with original Gloomhaven. So you got all your standee boxes and everything there too. So now really, we just need to open up the miniatures. So let me go get the miniatures box. Okay, so I've opened the minis box, and you got all these like individual little miniatures that have obviously been done with the QR codes and the names of them on here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through these one by one. If you are worried about spoilers, then I would suggest skipping to the end of the video or finishing the video here, because I'm just going to do these in a random order. I mean, these are kind of like light spoilers if you are trying to avoid looking at a character, but I mean, like I said, a lot of these aren't really spoilers, so you're just going to have to do it however you want to do it, but I'll give you fair warning right now. Alright, so first up we have the Inox Chain Guard. I'm going to take a look at him. Hopefully you can see that all okay on the close-up camera. I mean, I think he looks really, really nice, actually. This looks way better than I was expecting. And looks, I mean, it looks better than Gloomhaven miniatures, that's for sure. Looks really, really nice. Does feel a little bit more kind of fragile. I think these have been 3D printed. I mean, I'm not like a connoisseur. It's got the symbol on the bottom, on the base. Look at that. If it'll focus, you gonna focus? There you go. You see the actual got the symbol of the character on the bottom too. That's really cool. And you've even got these like little rings and stuff on the back. I mean, that miniature is super cool, actually. That's really, really nice. That's way better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was really expensive to add the minis. And maybe the printed versions, like people printing them at home, will come out this nice too. I don't really know, but that just looks phenomenal to me. Like, that's really good. Next up, we have the Bombard. The Quattro Bombard, the little tank dude. You may have seen on the website if you've been on the Crimson Scales website. I mean, again, look at this. Just looks really, really nice. I mean, there's a good amount of detail on there. This one's a bit more of a basic mini, I would say, compared to maybe the chain guard that we just saw. But, I mean, it still looks detailed and nice. Got the little symbol on the bottom there, if you ever forget. It's a really nice little touch, actually. And, I mean, yeah, just look at the guy. Looks really, really cool. I'm trying to make sure that I don't take it too much out of focus, but look at that. Very impressed with these. So that's the Bombard. Looks awesome. Really, really cool. Alright, next up we have an add-on character. I've just picked these randomly from my box, but this is one of the add-on characters. So this is the Ruinmaw, a character I was very excited to try and play at some point. I did very much like it when I reviewed the class. And look at this. He's like standing on top of a dead rat. I mean, come on. I mean, in terms of minis and Gloomhaven, I mean, so far, these guys have been the best minis I've seen for this game. I mean, this is like... I mean, obviously, when you're making a game a little bit more one-off like this, and obviously these were very expensive, so I would hope that they would be good quality, but man, this is exceeding my expectations, really. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, he looks so cool. Looks so, so cool. That is awesome. Man, if only I could paint. This guy would look amazing if you were good at painting. I have the Mirefoot, the one that we've been looking at before. The twig. Really funny looking guy. It's got these toadstools, these mushrooms on the base. There's a lot more like work gone into the base. Maybe because of if they were 3D printed, you can do stuff like that. I don't really know, but I say I'm not really a kind of a really big on minis kind of guy. You know, I don't paint or anything. I mean, I can admire a beautiful mini, but I'm not very good at the technical detail for these kinds of things. But it looks really good. Again, not maybe as much detail as some of the other ones, I would say, but there's still quite a lot going on. And even the kind of the I guess it's like a little kind of cape or something, or hood that he's wearing is really textured at the back there. Again, I imagine painting this up. This guy's going to look really good. Always really difficult to paint these little quattral guys, though. They're so small compared to some of the others that can be quite difficult to paint them, and that was true in the original Gloomhaven game as well. Tinkerer being very small. It's really difficult to get the camera to focus on this guy. He's so small, it's difficult to focus on him. Okay, next up we have the Lurker Luminary. Hopefully that'll focus. Look at this guy. This is the first time we had a playable Lurker that I've come across. I mean, there may well be, or I think there is going to be one in Frosthaven, but I mean, the Lurkers are going to play a bigger part in Frosthaven for sure. But in terms of a playable one, here's the Luminary, and that looks pretty good. I will say that some of the detailing is a little bit smoothed out at the back. You know, again, I'm no aficionado here, but to me, it looks really nice. I mean, some other people might say, "Hey, that's got nothing on another character, but or another mini." But I think that looks really detailed and great. I mean, that's going to look amazing on the board, right? And again, nice little touch with the symbol at the bottom. All right, next up we have the Orchid Chieftain. So again, a bit of like standing on a bit of wood there. You can see right there, it's just standing on a little bit of wood. Really kind of interesting looking. A bit of a bent spear. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know loads about minis, but what I do know is that spears and things like this, they always tend to get a little bit bent. I say the pose that she's in is maybe a little bit treacherous. I don't know. Feels like maybe, you know, only one point of contact with the base there, so maybe it's something to be wary of. But really nice detailing again on this character. I mean, just looks really nice. The armor looks cool. The kind of the clothing and the detail on the spear itself. You know, it's not just like a straight little spear. I mean, look at it. It's a really nicely detailed weapon. So yeah, I mean, again, another really nice one. These are just really beyond my expectations. All right, next up we got the Savas Hollow Pact giving Craig a run for his money, and I have to say this mini absolutely trumps the Crackheart mini. I mean, look at it. Stepping on rocks again. The detailing on the base, they've just done so much detailing on the bases for these guys. And then like you got the kind of the void energy kind of spurting out of the chest there. I mean, this guy looks so cool. I mean, look at it, and the cape and everything. I mean, yeah, this looks so... I mean, this is making me want to play this character. I don't know about you guys, but this one... I mean, you know, Craig's my favorite character, Crackheart's my favorite character. And I know this Savas is looking real badass, so... yeah, that is another absolutely amazing one. And you got the little symbol on the bottom there. Yeah, oh man, so cool. Alright, next up we have the Hierophant, the Hierophant. I can never say that name very well. He's got like the human priest character, and again, look at the detailing of this guy. I mean, even just little details like the glove that he's wearing there looks super cool. A little bit of a wonky staff, but again, we know this stuff's it's really hard to do. I mean, it happens on every mini that's got a very thin weapon like that on it. I've never seen a straight spear. Let's focus here. There you go. And the back as well. Really good. He's got a little bit of detailing on the base. Not as much detailing on the base on this guy, but he's got like looks like he's kind of like on kind of like not a cobbled street, but it's kind of like got some street markings on it. Makes it look like he's kind of on you know, like on the temple steps, if you like. Oh man, another really cool one. These minis are just, I mean, honestly, like they're putting original Gloomhaven ones to shame. But again, the thing is that you know Gloomhaven's a mass market game, and this was a kind of a, I guess, like a bespoke add-on almost, if you like. So it's unfair to really compare Gloomhaven miniatures to these, but I'm just so chuffed with how these have come out. They're really good. Next up is the Fire Knight, and look at this one too. Look at the ladder on the back as well. Look at that. I mean, this is a character that I wasn't a huge fan of when I did my review in terms of like the gameplay mechanics, but this mini again, All of these minis are making me just want to play all of these characters. I mean, look at them. You feel like a complete badass playing this guy on the battlefield. I mean, looks like he's kind of like channeling some flames onto his axe there as well. Definitely something interesting for those of you who like to paint. You know, you can probably come up with a really fun paint job on this guy, I would think. It's nice to have like a dynamic kind of pose like that they're doing something, you know, and there's like some sort of magic in the picture or in the model. So the base on this one is very plain, although it's not completely plain, but there's pretty much nothing there. I guess it's more of like a, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it might just be just because of the printing method is why it looks the way it does, but it's a little bit roughed up, maybe a little bit like a maybe like a sandy type finish, but it's a bit hard. I mean, it would probably work quite well with sand, and obviously Valraths are from there, so that would make a lot of thematic sense to go with it. But yeah, no, another really cool looking one. I love this little ladder on the back. Look at that. That's so cool. Man, another amazing one. Here is the Star Slinger. I mean, look at this guy. He's got like arrows bouncing off the top of his kind of it's like his kind of like magical sort of star shield thing that he uses. It's such a dynamic pose. I mean, look at this thing. Hopefully it focus. There, look at it. So dynamic. Sitting on like I guess a log there as well. I mean, that is beautiful right there. That is so nice. Wow. It's just amazing. Like, way beyond my expectations. Just, wow. Oh, man, I really need to pick up painting, obviously. I really need to get into painting. Right, next up we have the Human Bright Spark. There he is. This one's a fairly, like, normal mini, I would say. Although I do really like the detailing. I don't know if you can see the detailing in the face on this one. Try and get it into focus there. But there's a little bit more kind of going on the body, like the little potions and things. Should be a fun project to paint with all the different kind of potions. You can kind of paint them different colors. Expecting you got the little belt, but fairly box standard one here. Like this one's nothing too crazy, but you know, I mean, it matches the artwork on the board and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, still very good quality though, even though maybe not quite as dynamic as some of the others. So here we have another one. We have the Vermling Spirit Caller. You can see here. This is one that I really wanted to play. I think this is a character that I was very interested in playing. And look at this one as well. Such a dynamic, amazing pose. Really nice. And you got on the back. You kind of just see there's a bit of detailing on the base there. Really cool. If you like Vermlings, this is a very nice Vermling to paint for sure. Really cool. Another amazing one. Alright, next up we got the Quattral Artificer. This is a little guy. Pretty hard to sort of show. But if you have a look there, he's kind of like ratcheting the arm of one of his machines, one of his robots. That's a really cool one. If you know the character, like one of the minions that he gets, one of the summons he gets has that axe. So that's really cool. Nice kind of throwback to the character, really. Very cool. He's on this, again, he's on this kind of like, I guess you'd say it's, I don't know what you call it, like a street pavement or a street road kind of design on the base. He's got a little backpack on where he's scavenging his parts. This is another character that I really like the look of. Okay, last not least, we've got the big guy, the Amber Aegis. I mean, this is the biggest miniature. Definitely in terms of height. You could say maybe the Bombard is kind of maybe a little bit kind of wider, if you like, but this is comfortably the biggest miniature in the box. This is again another one of the add-on ones. Look at the kind of like all of the intricate detailing on this. I mean, there's a lot going on this miniature. Look, it's so many little spiky bits that are sticking out. This would be really fun to play and really fun to paint as well. Yeah, I mean, look, that is so cool. So a little bit of detailing going on the base as well. You can kind of see, let me focus. You can kind of see on the base, there's kind of like his little termite. You know, he's got the bugs. That's his thing. He's got his little termite mounds that he makes. little colonies that he makes. You can kind of see that there's some detailing on the base to do with that as well. Wow, yeah, that is really cool. And all of these miniatures were just so cool. And again, you got the little symbol on the bottom there. It's just really nice. So there you go. Those are all of everything that is inside Crimson Scales, as well as all of the miniature add-on pack as well for you guys to check out. So there it is, the Crimson Scales. I am so excited to finally actually have this in my hands. I've been so excited for this day, and I wanted it to come before Frosthaven, so I actually had an opportunity to maybe play this before Frosthaven arrives and get a little bit more kind of Gloomhaven action before that comes up and inevitably swallows my life and all of the content that I'm going to probably end up doing on my channel. So I will be playing through Crimson Scales live. I plan to do this on stream. It's going to be a bit of a dry run for Frosthaven, so give me some opportunities to trial out some new camera setups, record some new content, stuff like that. So just going to have fun with it, really, and hopefully you guys are really going to enjoy it. Like I said, I'm really impressed with the production quality of this, so it's going to be like showing off like any other regular game. It's really quite amazing what they've achieved here, so really looking forward to showing that and starting to play through that live on streams, which will be on the Wednesday streams. Maybe even I'll actually tail into some of the Monday streams, maybe, if we try and ramp things up and depending how things go. Before we wrap up, a big thank you to all of my supporters over on Patreon, especially to Truck Driving Gamer and Mike Kira for their legendary support. Thank you guys, that's very kind. Big thank you to all of the people who support me over on Twitch as well as subscribing. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to come and hang out live and maybe watch me play some Crimson Scales live, as I just said, then come over to twitch.tv/mandatoryquest every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. But apart from that, thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.
I think still, yeah.
Oh, that's the blessing from Jam.
Yeah.
That's the blessing from.
Isaac, at this point, can we get your approval to add an additional attack modifier deck for allies in the digital version?